In a surprising move, US President Trump allows American technology company Nvidia to export advanced artificial intelligence chips to China. What explains this U-turn by President Trump? And how does it reshape the global AI race? Aman Kumar Himanshu delves into a pivotal shift in the high-stakes world of technology and geopolitics.
A global tech showdown has taken a surprising turn. After years of trying to keep China away from advanced US-developed artificial intelligence chips, the US government has quietly given the green light to sell them to China, something that Beijing had been desperate to get its hands on. On 8th December, US President Donald Trump announced his decision to allow American chip giant Nvidia to export advanced AI chips to Beijing. In a post on the Truth Social platform, President Trump said that he had informed his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping of the decision and that the Chinese leader responded positively to it. President Trump said the chips would only be sold to approved US customers and that 25% of the revenues would go to the US government as tax. He also said that US Commerce Department was negotiating the deal and that other tech companies such as Intel would be offered a similar opportunity. The H200 is Nvidia's second-best processor. It has more memory capacity and bandwidth, both of which are important for chips that train and run AI programs and large language models. It is far more capable than the H20, which was developed specially to comply with previous export restrictions to China. The H20 was, until now, the only chip that Nvidia could sell to approved buyers in China. Chinese companies still can't buy Nvidia's top-of-the-line Blackwell B200 chips or the next-generation Rubin chips, which remain fully restricted. The H200 is said to be 6 times faster than the H20 for some tasks, but the B200 is almost 10 times faster than the H200. While Chinese companies can't officially get the B200, some reports say that more than $1 billion worth of B200 chips might have already made their way to China via the black market. The H200 will have an interesting journey while making it to China. Nvidia's H200 AI chips that are part of the deal would mainly be manufactured in Taiwan. From there, they would travel to the US for a national security review. Then the chips would finally be sent on to China. The complex supply chain journey and unusual security review for the chips highlights the unprecedented nature of the agreement. President Trump's announcement marks a notable shift in US tech export policy. Former US President Joe Biden had heavily restricted the sale of advanced chips to China over concerns that the Chinese military could put them to use. But President Trump justifies his decision by saying that the Biden government had forced US companies to spend billions of dollars building degraded products that nobody wanted, a terrible idea that slowed innovation and hurt the American worker. He vowed to simultaneously protect national security, create jobs, and keep US lead in AI. But not everybody is convinced. US lawmakers from the opposition Democratic Party quickly dismissed the shift as a mistake that will help the Chinese military and economy alike. Others worry that it equips an adversary with tools for surveillance and tech theft, potentially aiding a Taiwan contingency by 2027. They fear that allowing H200 sales could turbocharge China's AI ecosystem, and it might triple Beijing's computing power, accelerating frontier models and data centers. Critics say Trump always chickens out, invoking a pejorative term that describes the US president's tendency to change his mind on policy positions. President Trump said that only approved buyers would be able to receive the chips, but smuggling and diversion have made it challenging to fully enforce such restrictions in the past. Incidentally, around the same time that President Trump made the announcement to sell the chips to China, the US Justice Department charged 2 men for trafficking export-controlled Nvidia chips, including the H200, to China and other countries. Some analysts believe that Nvidia is pursuing profits while national security considerations take a back seat. CNN reports that Nvidia, the world's most valuable company and leading chip maker, has seen massive success as demand for AI has boomed in recent years. But that success has also dropped it square in the middle of global tensions over who will win a global race to dominate artificial intelligence. President Trump has repeatedly said that the US must win the global AI race, even as China has invested heavily in its own domestic industry. So what explains President Trump's change of heart? For one, this single decision could send billions of dollars flowing back into the US tech industry. But look beneath the surface and it becomes clear that the sale of H200 chips to some Chinese customers buys time for the US to negotiate a deal with Beijing over rare earths and other major disruptions to global supply chains. China holds a near monopoly on the processing of rare earth minerals, which are essential for the production of most electronics. What is indisputable is that President Trump's decision aids China, in the short term at least. Incidentally, President Trump's decision aligns with his government's new national security strategy that dials back on viewing China as an all-out threat, preferring deals over decoupling instead. Chinese Premier Li Qiang, DeepSeek CEO, and other Chinese tech leaders have all explicitly pointed to the lack of Nvidia chips as limiting China's AI development. The US decision will boost China's ability to build advanced AI models and expand data centers that could rival US companies in global markets. Lifting export controls on the H200 chips has essentially supercharged China's ability to build cutting-edge AI models and the infrastructure behind them, and in the process erode American hardware monopoly. But surprisingly, reports paint a more nuanced, even chilly picture from Beijing. China's foreign ministry offered a tepid nod, advocating quote-unquote mutually beneficial cooperation, a far cry from enthusiasm.
We have noted the relevant reports. China has consistently advocated that China and the United States achieve mutual benefit and win-win results through cooperation.
Contrary to popular belief in the US, Beijing has plans to restrict access to the H200 chips in order to avoid overdependence. Why the caution? Because distrust runs deep. US bans could flip any time, or worse, the chips might harbor backdoors for spying. Certain Chinese commentators say Beijing must restrict imports of the H200 to safeguard sovereignty. For instance, Huawei is racing to catch up with Nvidia and AMD within the next few years, though how realistic that goal is remains a topic of debate. So all things considered, it's not clear yet whether China will allow the high-end Nvidia chips to enter its territory or how many Chinese companies will actually buy them. Will President Trump's policy pivot foster cooperation, or will it make the US-China technological Cold War worse? Only time will tell. Aman Kumar Himanshu's report for DD India.